and welcome to Marysville Getchell Charter Chat. I'm Thomas, this is Seth. So before we get the show started, I'd just like to say that as a part of production of Marysville Getchell High School, we don't promote any types of beliefs or background over another, but we are an international school of communication, so we do like to talk to people from all kinds of backgrounds, things like that, and just get to know people. So we're here with Leslie today. And Leslie, do you mind telling people what it is that you do?
I do psychic medium readings and healing, spiritual and Reiki healing master.
So I don't know a whole lot about that. Is there any type of like training or like things like that that you have to go through before you can obviously like open a business and be successful on your own in that?
For some of it, yes. Yeah, most of it's natural. People are born naturally with these abilities, but for training for healing, absolutely, you need certification.
So
training.
When people come into your business, what it is that are they usually looking for, and what is it that you provide for them?
Well, a variety of services. They're usually looking for a medium reading, connecting to loved ones in spirit, trying to connect to those, just hoping and praying that their loved ones still exist after we pass from the physical body. And then others are coming in for healing, which I offer free services for healing for those that are terminally ill or have a critical illness. So I do a lot of free work
Oh,
in
how long have you
regards
been
to
doing
that.
How long have you
Business-wise, around 10 years.
10
A little
years?
bit more than that, yeah, for professional.
Is that something that really like interested you a lot before that, before you started doing it professionally?
Well, I was always curious about my abilities, and I always knew that I had abilities, but I had never really read anything about it. I didn't have anyone to teach me or guide me in which way to go, so it was figuring it out myself. But once I finally just fully accepted it, it just exploded, and it's wonderful.
So what got you into it, like wanting to do this?
Having ability. Having abilities. And then I had went, and I gained an interest in some other psychic mediums that I had seen on television, psychic detective shows and things like that. And, you know, I knew I could do that. And I wanted to be able to offer my services to be able to help those, you know, people find their loved ones that are missing.
Yeah.
It's really important.
So you say you had these abilities. At what time did you start to like realize that, or what time did you notice that was like prominent as something in your life when you were younger, and when did that start?
Well, I've always had them, very intuitive and natural, but I really thought everybody had them. So it took me till I was around maybe 18, 19 before I realized I'm not exactly the same as everyone else. And then just kind of growing and developing into those, I knew pretty early on that I had these abilities. I was just embarrassed and ashamed actually to have them.
So how did you realize that you had these type of like abilities? Like what things could you do, or things that you felt that made you think that you had some type of different ability?
I would have visions, like really spontaneous visions that would just last like maybe a millisecond, but in that moment I would just know everything that was going to happen right before it happened. A lot of guidance, and just I knew. And it just sparks an interest. And I started reading when I was about 15, 16, the books on Raymond Moody about children having out-of-body experiences and life after death. And I just gobbled up every bit of information that I could find on that, because I actually did have out-of-body experiences as a child that I remember even clearly to this day.
So Raymond Moody, is that like an author of the book? I'm not
Very
too
prominent author
aware.
from Seattle.
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
So just right around here.
St. Jude's Children's Hospital, children
okay.
that were near death and critical, and they'd been brought back to life, would report instances of seeing Jesus or lights, and you know, having visions and loved ones in spirit. And so that prompted him, and he's a physician, to do more research on that, and he's written many, many books.
So is there anyone else like that who really kind of like, or not necessarily inspired, but someone that you looked to a lot when you had questions about things or just wanted to learn more?
You know, I always, inspiring to me is Mother Teresa, just because she just selflessly gave herself in service. And that's what I do try to do. But I feel like, you know, more famous people like James Van Praagh and John Edward, and there's also Elisa Williams. She's not very well known, but I started watching them and kind of going, oh, You know, this is what I should be doing.
So was it a pretty scary feeling when you found out you had this ability? You know, was it at all?
I've had some really terrifying experiences, I will say that, especially when I finally accepted those for what
Would you
they
mind telling
are.
us what those are, or what happened?
Yeah, those, they occurred when I moved to Montana in 2008, these really difficult ones. I lived in a really small town, but it was a very haunted town, and I was just tormented daily, daily by that, until I started to understand that people need to be protected and to be working in God's light and all of that. And I've always known God was true and real. Ever since I was just a little child, I knew that. Always searching for him.
So when you started doing this professionally, that was 10 years ago, right? Was I correct in that?
I would say close to that, maybe
Close
a
to
little
10
bit
years.
earlier, yeah.
So I don't know how much you talk to other people in your profession, like psychic mediums, things like that. Is there any like big changes that have happened, or any things in your particular business that have really just been different since you started to now?
Yeah, people are more open to it. They're with all, I think, the ghost hunting shows that were out, which I don't watch, but all of the people searching for life after death, it's really exploded, and people are opening up more, and I feel like they're being born with more ability, you know, more of a higher vibration, you might say.
So what would you like to recommend for anyone that's interested in doing this, what you do?
I would learn first how to meditate and how to protect yourself depending on what your background is religiously. I'm a Christian, and so I really believe very much in you know, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So that's how I base myself on that, and I didn't have to work hard to do that, but others can do that just by reading and meditation and having that intention.
So you'd say this job isn't for anyone, right, or for everyone, right?
We all have abilities,
We all have
all of us, yeah. It's just how open are you to developing them, and you need to develop them in a safe way.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk to you a little bit more about that when we get back. But right now we're going to go into a segment. So we'll be right back.
What's up, man?
What's up, Seth? Have you met the new kid?
What new kid?
What's up, new?
Hey, I'm Cheyenne.
Are you okay?
Never better.
That's just so weird. Go.
Can I wash my hands? That new kid's so weird. You ever see her?
Go. Yeah, I saw her drinking a puddle earlier.
The heck?
Leslie here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what it is she does and how she does it. So, talking about things that you do and the abilities that you have, is there any part about it that you find particularly difficult, or maybe that you would like to change if you could?
About my abilities,
About your abilities, and then also about the job itself.
I love it. I love every part of it. It's not difficult at all. I actually had a recent experience where I could not connect with a client, but their loved one had passed very recently, and that is difficult because, you know, you don't want to. I don't call spirit to me if they're there, but then I will communicate with them. And so for her, I had a difficult time, and it was very emotional for her. You know, I felt really bad for her, but you just have to end it and move on. Too soon.
So
I like it to wait at least a year.
So do you think that she'll probably be coming back in a little bit more time, or is that something that you guys discussed at all?
We did. I would prefer that she came back after a year has been passed.
So is there any other situations like that where you're with clients and something, I mean, obviously every case is going to be a little different, but is there any times that really like stick out as something that was really different or really prominent that sticks out in your mind?
Oh boy, lots of those. Yeah, I had one where I was doing a healing, and I suddenly began to see inside the body and see the bones moving and the joints moving, And it was really like, whoa, I could see inside them. I could see their organs and everything, their heart pumping. And I began to be able to remote view inside someone's body, just even talking on the phone. Just connecting, I can see inside them.
So that was like over the phone?
This was one in person when that started,
Okay.
and that started like in 2013. It was very spontaneous, unexpected, and it just happened.
So that's something that you can still do
Mhm,
regularly?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do.
Would you say this is something you want to do for the rest of your life? Not s-
Forever,
nothing to
I'm never
change?
retiring, ever.
That's great.
It's a wonderful way to live.
Is this something that you do around your family, or are they interested in that at all? You know, family gatherings, things like that?
Absolutely. Very interested. I have a very large, wonderful, supportive family. But when you're dealing with family members or people that you love or emotionally connected to, you can run into inaccurate readings because we want so much for them. And so I try to distance myself in that regard because I would want them to I'd refer them to maybe a friend of mine. You know, someone so they could have a more authentic read. Because when you know so much, it's not authentic. And I want it to all come organically. I don't want questions asked or to be filled in on too much information because it becomes tainted in a way.
Almost like, leading the question to the answer. instead
Yeah,
of-
absolutely. And you don't want that because then it ruins it. The flow is not there anymore.
So has there been anyone that's ever disagreed with you before of what you've done? Like, did they ever think like, why do you do this? Is this like kind of different than what usually people would do? Has that ever happened to you before?
You mean like attacking? that
Yeah,
kind of-
yeah, in a way like that.
Yes,
Or-
lots of people. You get the uber Christian, or the ones that are just, this is against God, and yeah, I get a lot of it on Twitter and, questions, and that's okay because I believe in being a healthy skeptic. You should be skeptical. I mean, you absolutely should be because I believe there's a lot of people that are fake or phony and try to scam people. So it's good to walk in with a skeptical attitude. But most of the people are really supportive, and I'll explain it to them, but I don't get into arguments with them about it. I'm not trying to push my views or opinions on them at all, or my belief system.
Yeah, it's more like, if you come to me asking questions, then I'll answer them, but I'm not going to, go door to door trying to get people psychic reads.
No,
right? Yeah.
no.
Actually, someone that I really look up to, James Randi, he goes to a lot of, I don't think he does it anymore, I think he's retired, but in like the 1990s and stuff, he'd
Oh,
go
the
to,
challenge.
yeah, he'd go to
I
like a lot
love
of
that
psychics
guy,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, he's a really funny guy.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, James Randi was someone who'd go to like all kinds of psychics, shamans, things like that, and just really kind of like try to test their abilities, things like that, trying to find, fantasy and scams from real things. And so he was someone that I've read a lot of books about, and I think he's really cool, and I recommend him.
He's amazing. He's not doing it anymore.
I don't think
He used to have the $1 million prize.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure. I think he either retired or is doing something else.
Yeah,
now.
I always wanted to do that. I thought I want to give that a shot, but never got around to it.
Well, would you ever be willing to? I mean, obviously you're on a show now. Would you ever be willing to like go on to, I don't know, maybe like a wider audience of show, something like? I'm not sure of any outlets that would do that, but like a large scale.
Like
medium
do it
or
like
something.
with
Yeah,
skeptics and stuff. I would. I love challenges like that. I really do. I love that. However, I would want to make sure that the person is honest and responsive in an honest way, and not be just totally unopen about it.
Yeah, someone who's just like, this is gonna work. Here we go. All that kind of things. Yeah, I understand that. You want
Being
someone,
open-minded is all. It
Yeah,
needs.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no point in having a discussion with someone who already thinks they've won.
Yeah, exactly. But I would love it. Yeah, I would welcome that challenge. Yes.
It's awesome.
So is there anyone you look up to as a psychic? Or like anyone that's like really like well known in like the world that's, as the
Yeah, there's a couple. I really look up to James Van Prague because his soul and spirit is so sweet. He's really a good person. And I like John Holland. Again, another very sweet, gentle, very sincere person.
So we're gonna keep talking about this in just a little bit. We're gonna go to another break. So we'll be right back. And welcome back to Marysville Getchell Charger Chat. So we're going to continue our conversation with Leslie, and I think what we're going to talk about next is, so you're medium, so you like to, or you can communicate with spirits and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you said you don't call them to you, so are they just kind of like the thing that are always around, or how does that work exactly?
When I do a medium reading, and it's different for everyone, we're all unique in our abilities, we use them in different ways. But for me, personally, when someone comes to me, I just sit down with a blank piece of paper. I get the person's name that I'm talking to, my client, and then I just start writing and giving information that I'm picking up from someone in spirit. And then they'll usually identify them. And those are the people that I will do a reading on.
So it's
And-
almost like a therapist kind of in a way. Like, you know, you're listening to them, you're writing it down, and trying to help them and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't ask them to, I don't want to be led into anything, or I
Yeah.
don't want the name.
Mhm.
You know, I'll give them what they were like when they were here, their personality, things that they see and know that's going on right now, so that people understand that they actually really are with us and around us. That's how I work. I don't ask questions. I do ask to be validated in the information that I do get, if they understand it. And then we just flow from there. Some people, well, I want Joe Blow, you know, to,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, that's not how I work.
Yeah.
So you're a Christian, so I'm assuming you believe in heaven and things like that.
Mhm.
So how does that differentiate from, you know, spirits and things, right? I mean, I'm kind of.
Okay, so in my work, I work with spirits that are of the light. They're already in the light, heaven. Okay, and then I don't work with the low energies, which are spirits that are trapped here on, you know, the etherical plane of existence. The ones that you can see, you know, people that go ghost hunting.
Yeah.
I don't work with those. I just work of spirits that are already in the light, and moving is just a thought. It's instant. It's not traveling or flying through the air. You know, it's instant. They're with us always, but they can come and back and forth.
So have you ever had like a really negative reading of someone, or something that was really not an enjoyable experience for you or the person that you were reading off?
I have. I was bitten.
You were bitten
I was bitten one
by
time.
a spirit?
Yeah, and I didn't feel it, but I did look down and I had teeth marks on the, like just like this, on the top and bottom of my wrist, and the next day it was bruised severely.
Do you have any thoughts or theories onto why that might have happened, or why that happened that
Well, I
particular
had
time,
told
not
her,
before?
I had went to her home to do a healing, and I had told her that, you know, she's got some spirits here that need to be passed on. They need to cross over. And then that's when that happened. They weren't too happy about me saying that.
So with what you're talking about, spirits needing to cross over, is that something that you do, or is that something that you would call someone else?
Well, I will do it. If they come, then I will try to assist them in the best way that I can. Some of them are very fearful. And if they won't, then I give them some advice and I send them on their way. Can't stay. Not with me anyway, but I would help them if they'll go. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are some reasons that spirits would get trapped on Earth, or maybe not want to cross over?
They don't want to leave their family, loved ones. And they're just like you and I. They have the same tendencies. They can lie and, you know, just same personality that they had before. Others are fearful because there used to be that hell and damnation, right, taught and preached throughout all religion. And they're afraid of that because they may have done something that was not good. Most of them are just like everyday people, confused and lost and stuck. And so we just, you know, assist them with the angels, bring in the white light, and allow them to cross through if they're willing.
Yes. Oh. So there are spirits that get trapped like unwillingly, like they want to cross over, but for whatever reason they can't.
Not unwillingly.
Not unwillingly.
Not unwillingly. They can cross over if they can, but there is a time period where it does, you know, they usually stay for their own funeral, and after that time period, there's a period of about 96 to 120 hours afterwards where it's time for them to move on and move into the light, and some of them don't want to leave their family, you know, or it was traumatic and they're still, you know, they're afraid. Fear is usually the worst. are the most common. Yeah.
So has someone ever healed you before?
Healed me?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how does it feel or for you to get healed and healing someone else? Like,
It's amazing.
it's amazing.
It was amazing. That's how I actually discovered I could do healing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd always done the psychic. I've always been psychic, but the healing, I went someplace and I thought I was getting a massage.
Oh,
Never
really?
even had heard of it. Again, I didn't know much about all of this, and then when I left, I'm like, I can do this. So I went and got trained.
So it made like a big impact in your life because you knew you
It
wanted
really
to start
did.
doing this.
It
and
sure
stuff like
did.
that. That's awesome.
Hmm. It's pretty amazing.
Where did you do your training, or was that? Did you have someone who like? Is it like an apprenticeship type thing, where someone?
Or was it like a person?
I've done so many training courses and certification courses through the years. I believe in just, I like it anyway, but keeping your skills up and learning new things. But I was trained in Lilydale, New York, as a psychic medium, certified there, and then as a Reiki spiritual healing master, it was in Billings, Montana.
So who does the certification? Is there like, I don't know, a board or a class or things like that who do these types of things?
Someone that's already a master
Mhm.
is able to do that and certify others.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So it's really kind of like a passed down thing. Like,
Right, and I'm actually writing a book right now that I'm going to be doing. It's a training manual for
Oh, really?
others
Oh.
to be able to open up to their abilities.
That's awesome. So, all right, you got my bad.
So, writing a book about training and things like that. Is there any like main prominent tips that you would have for someone who either thinks that they have abilities or is trying to get more in touch with things like that?
Absolutely. Protection,
Mhm.
working within the light and protecting yourself with light and breath work. Those are all really important. And learning to meditate is huge. That usually is pretty much all it takes. Opens right up, especially people that think they have ability or not sure about it. Those people that are more prone to it will just, go fast.
So in the book you're writing, so what's it talking about? So you're basically just explaining like, is it how to find your ability, like what to do, like what's it like when as you're writing a book?
It's a lot about my life experiences
Mhm.
and what I've been through, and everything that I've traveled through on this journey so far,
Mhm.
and then my tips and lessons that I've learned through spirit on how others can open up to their own ability. So it's a combination of both, an autobiography and a psychic development book.
So, you're talking about protection and staying in the light when you're talking to spirits.
Mhm.
What are some of the risks if you were to not do that and to talk to? I'm not sure exactly what the term was, but
Well, I mean, everything is about your intention, and some people really approach this in a fear-based mentality. Being protected just means that you're intending that you're protected, but there can be some spirits like to be near your light because they're cold, right? So they want to be near that warmth, and they can attach to your energy and really drain your energy. They can make you feel more fatigued, tired, sick. Little things that people don't really notice until it's a while.
so we've got a couple minutes left. Before we finish up, we're actually going to cut to one more segment. That's actually kind of like a shorter version of a silent film. So, we'll see you back in a second. And we're back with Marysville Giftal Charger Chat. So we're just going to be finishing up here with Leslie. So Leslie, where exactly is your business? do you have any social media or any other types of advertising for people interested who might want to try out your service? Just any general information on your business that you'd like to give?
Yeah, I actually operate out of my home right now. It's in North Marysville. I'm looking to open up right next to Panda Express on 172nd. And all of my social media is under Emerald City Medium. And I have a website. It's emeraldcitymedium.com. And then even my private Facebook is all public posts, all of that. And I offer a lot of services. I especially like to work with PTSD, you know, for our military. I offer all free healings for our military and oncology patients, critical care. I'm really based on healing. Everything is about healing for me. And then just having people come in and see what I can do.
Awesome. So is there any last words that you have for the audience or for us before we cut to our outro?
Yeah, I think it's great to be an optimistic skeptic. I think it's great to question things. I think it's good to walk in with a healthy, skeptical attitude, but not closed-minded. Just be open and check it out for yourself. It's good to explore it, explore yourself and learn about it, but just don't, you know, not just every single person that says they're psychic is. So good, optimistic skeptic is the best. Open-minded.
I really like that term. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
It was a really interesting talk. Just thanks so much for coming on, talk about what you do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I think we're out of time. So
I appreciate it.
yeah, no problem.
Done?